If there's one thing that I really have to give a lot of credit to for when it comes to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, has a lot to do with the fact of how they keep the fans very hyped, in the loop, and really teasing and hinting a lot of things for their upcoming Star Wars projects, be it of course for the TV shows and some of the upcoming lore and canon that will be established in the books, the novels, and the comics, and even the video games, etc. And especially when it involves the TV shows, they really keep the fans hyped up about all of the big revelations that they have planned for the upcoming roadmap of the Star Wars universe. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the kind and great support. Now that brings us to, of course, what Jon recently had to say about all of the upcoming revelations and how a lot of them have to do with the character of Luke Skywalker and Grogu in, of course, Mando 4, Ahsoka, and other Star Wars shows coming in the mix that will be announced, by the way, at Star Wars Celebration in April, as well as D23 later this year. Now, moving ahead beyond all of this, we know that Jon is a very passionate Star Wars fan and creator to really kind of just establish all of the upcoming Star Wars lore and everything related to Jon and Dave establishing a lot of retcons as well. Now that brings us to exactly what Favreau recently had to tease and really hint toward the fans to really hype up the marketing for not just Mando Season 3, but also for Mando Season 4 and Star Wars Ahsoka, and how it does involve something substantial that he claims is going to break the internet and rattle the fan base for Luke and Grogu and what they have in store for those characters. So let's get right into it. Now, with Favreau very busy with his work lately on upcoming Star Wars TV shows to be announced, Favreau recently teased something big that he claims is going to break and rattle the internet that involves Luke Skywalker and Grogu. Favreau went on to tease the following in a recent interview about The Mandalorian. So our whole concept that we are working on is how we can really create these big twists and turns that will stick in fans' minds for years upon years. Thankfully, after much dedicated work and time, we figured out a big revelation that we could insert into this great story that revolves around the Skywalkers such as Luke, for example, and Grogu, that we sincerely do believe is going to break the internet and rattle the entire community. What we are doing with Luke for Mandalorian Season 4 and other projects that we have not announced yet, we really do believe is going to change your view of the character forever. And this revelation that we have in store for Grogu that will be presented to fans is going to stretch across the entire Skywalker saga movies. So let me just stop here for a second. What in the world do you think that Jon is alluding to when he actually says that Luke Skywalker is going to get this big revelation that's going to change your view of the actual character, and how Grogu's revelation is going to stretch across all the Skywalker saga movies? It really makes you wonder what they have in store when it comes to Luke, Grogu, and other characters coming into play here, and how that's really going to transfer onto all of the upcoming slate of Star Wars shows. Now, Jon has said this before in the past, believe it or not, that they really are toying around with incorporating Grogu's identity into Mando Season 4, and if Mando 4 proves to be wildly successful, they're going to be open to ending the show entirely, stopping at a Season 6. If it just is okay, they'll stop it at Season 4. That's the overall game plan right now, because they already have a show called Star Wars Mandalore in the works that's going to be the evolution of The Mandalorian as a series. And that is really good marketing, because it not only has a similar name and ring to it all for The Mandalorian as a show title, but it also is literally the evolution of the show, because we know in Mando Season 3, they are heading to Mandalore, as well as in Season 4. It's going to have a lot more to do with Bo-Katan, and the Mandalore show was originally a Bo-Katan series, strictly, but now it's a Bo-Katan show mixed with some Tar Vizsla stuff in flashback form, as well as throwing in characters like Luke, Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra, and Thrawn. Moving on. Now here's what Favreau had to go on to elaborate. Alright, he went on to actually make things more clear by stating this. He says it's going to be that massive of a reveal, and even George told us that he believes that this is going to outperform his I am your father moment in Empire, which was shocking to us to hear George say that and admit that to us, and it only made us more excited to present this to the fans. I want to make it clear to the community that this is not an over-exaggeration, and we are slowly building toward these major reveals that will truly mark themselves in pop culture for decades. We are thrilled, to say the least. Now, Jon Favreau is a real open book, right? He's open to a lot of different things to explore. When it comes to Star Wars, he's always, really kind of trying to dial back to bringing Star Wars Legends to life and really giving the fans something truly remarkable. Now, this revelation that's in store for both Grogu and Luke really makes you wonder, what is Grogu really? Who really is he, right? We already know that they have an official name, or his real name, that has been printed on some of the storyboards, calling him Yoral, and actually specifically Yoral Minch, which by the way was a callback to Yoda's original name being called Minch Yoda. So you can see what they're trying to do now. They're giving the Yoda species their names all starting with a Y, from what it seems. You got Yoral, Yaddle, Yoda, right? It kind of almost sounds like a little bit of a rhyme there. But when you look at everything related to this, we have a lot of things happening with Star Wars as a whole. The fact that George admitting to Jon and Dave that these revelations that they created are going to be bigger than I am your father is a huge thing to say. I mean, it really makes you wonder, what is Favreau and Filoni really doing when it comes to Grogu and Luke, and how other characters are going to actually be involved as well. So that really does kind of open your eyes more, right? It makes you wonder to yourselves, how big is Mando 4 really going to be? Well, it's going to be huge. And the reason being is that they're going to extend the episode numbers, they're going to extend the episode lengths, and not just that, but Mando 4 is also going to have a very high budget, far higher than Mando 3. And it's going to have a more cinematic look to it all. It's going to kind of evolve that overall tone and appearance-wise that Mando Season 2 and 3 are going to have. So, yeah, I think that at the end of the day, Favreau is on his A-game. He knows what he's doing. You can see how in the marketing here, they're trying to excite the fans, and how he openly makes it clear that they are not over-exaggerating. They are not really kind of jumping the shark when it comes to, big announcements like this, or really kind of hyping up the fans. So I trust in him. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.